This was for anyone who wants to earn more so they have freedom, options, and choice in their life and aren't determined just by the restrictions of their job. One of my team members, Matt, did a recent wholesale real estate deal and made $47,000 by finding a 3-acre lot in Chesterfield, Missouri, right in his backyard, and partnering with somebody to get that property sold to an investor. And he made the difference between what he got it under contract for from the distressed seller and what the investor bought it for, which was $47,000. So Matt actually partnered with a couple people. He took home $16,000, but he's earned more in a big way this month. And I wanted to share that because he's teaching you every week how to wholesale these deals on the DealMachine Masterclass. This is the podcast to help 10x your income and replace your W-2. Although I hope Matt doesn't replace his. I hope he just earns more. And also, I created a process that's helped people close 10,000 deals in all 50 states with the software platform called DealMachine. And of course, my co-host is Ryan Haywood, who's done 425 deals in St. Joseph, Missouri, since he quit his job in 2019. I'm so excited to tell everyone about your recent wholesale deal where I think you guys made a $40,000 assignment fee, right?
Yep. It's been exciting, man. Yeah, we went through, it was out in Chesterfield area in St. Louis. A deal that, the property needed a deep rehab. One that they may be, pretty much gutting the whole thing and probably build on top of the foundation. And that's about it. But was a 3-acre lot, almost kind of an infill, surrounded by really, really nice houses. Awesome opportunity. That's a kind of a rare lot out in Chesterfield. So, it's been exciting to do this and start off the year strong, guys. So thanks for having me on.
How did you find out about this 3-acre lot that wanted to sell?
So it's funny, a couple major lessons learned through this thing too. One, having just somebody to partner up with, that you can just have as an accountability buddy, something that can hold each other accountable, really, bounce ideas off of, really get a second opinion on things. We're good yin and yang. It's actually Vince Hall, who is over at Call Porter, one of our partner companies rather. So it's been awesome to team up with him. He has a similar role over at Call Porter that I do at DealMachine. So we've had lunch quite a few times locally, and we're both like, man, we should be doing deals together in St. Louis. So it's great to have multiple perspectives and be a good yin and yang for each other. And he's somebody who...
You actually formed an LLC at one of those lunches, right?
Yeah, we went through. We're like, yeah, guys, we're gonna take it seriously. You're right.
What do you call your LLC?
We're calling it so Matt Vinny Properties, MV Properties, where it came from. So MVP for short. So
I love it when those acronyms work like that. So Vince, how did Vince find that deal?
So Vince, that's a big one where he came on this first deal. He actually was recording a podcast like this, showing off that putting out content on social media, putting out just broadcasting that he is looking for deals, just getting out there and simply going out and just posting once every, to publicly declare hey, I'm looking for deals, looking for houses that need some TLC. He did that and had an old realtor friend reach out to him and be like, man, this house really needs some help. It was a property that he couldn't even get people in the door for quite a while. So it wasn't one that they could really do a ton with. And we said, hey, yeah, let's take a look. And it worked out, man. So it's been fun to go through that.
Wow. So off of a piece of content. So very practically, not everybody listening to this has a podcast, but everyone pretty much has a Facebook account.
Yep.
You could say, hey, I'm looking for rundown properties in this area. Let me know if you guys see anything that looks out of ordinary. I will pay you. What did he say? Did he even say he'd offer a fee or some type of bonus or what?
His first one was just him putting it out there, making people aware of that. So even just simply, he made it a Facebook story and just, if you've got a Facebook account or Instagram account or anything like that, where you've got even a small group of people you're connected to, it's worth just getting more public about what you're trying to do.
Yeah. Well, I just posted one myself 2 weeks ago. For anyone that wants an example of what one of these could look like, go to my Instagram, DLeco. It's me in front of a house with a bunch of bricks on the ground, and then the caption, generated referrals for contractors and a couple leads, actually. So, but back to you, Matt. So you formed the LLC. So Vince was like, "Hey, I found our first lead."
Mm-hmm.
And did you guys go see the property with the owner, or how'd you do that?
Yep. We went together on the appointment, took a bunch of pictures, went through that. I know, just again, like having a buddy to do it with makes it so much more fun to go out there and go through this whole journey together,
Right.
So, went out there, did that, talked to the, I know we didn't have too much of back and forth with the seller. They already had a number in mind of what they were looking for.
How'd you know it worked? How'd you know that number was going to work? Okay.
To go through. So we did go in DealMachine, went through and ran the comping process. It was a little bit of a unique one just because, it was a small property on a bigger, piece of land, and it was surrounded by 7-figure plus properties, that were, really, really nice, large houses around it. So we knew it was a great opportunity for somebody who was going to come in and do a major, complete rebuild potentially, which is eventually what ended up being. But going through and kind of getting creative with the comps and really looking around and figuring out like, hey, what could this look like in terms of the end product, is how we dug into the data using DealMachine.
So there were comps for 3-acre lots that showed up?
No, honestly, a lot of them were smaller lots, bigger properties. That was surrounding it. So we did that. We actually, I'll say the other awesome thing locally that was super, super helpful is we teamed up with another one of our buddies, David Dodge, who's local to St. Louis. He's a guy that, has used DealMachine since pretty much the beginning. I don't know if you've had him on here, but I know I've had him on our YouTube channel. And David was super, super helpful in walking through the process with us too, in terms of, thinking about those comps, thinking about his cash. He's a phenomenal cash buyer network locally. Like, that's the other great lesson learned is teaming up with somebody to do the deal itself, like Vince, and then finding that mentor if you're uncomfortable with any part of the process, like David Dodge. Like those two things were incredibly helpful.
That's so cool, because if you guys had tried to sell it yourself, you don't have an expansive network of buyers, probably. So maybe you would have sold it for $5,000. It's like the common first wholesale deal fee that we see around here. But David had somebody that was able to actually help you guys get a $40,000 spread because he was able to sell it for higher, right?
Yeah.
So by partnering, and y'all split the deal 3 ways, is that right? Or he took a third, he gave you guys 2/3?
Yeah. So to get extremely specific, it was a $48K total spread, and then we split it 3 ways. $48K. So yeah. So coming in, to break down the full numbers, that's what it was looking like in terms of, overall spread. The end, both sides were super happy, both the seller and then the end buyer. They have an awesome opportunity to build out that 3-acre lot in a rare part of town that you would see something like that. So,
right.
Yeah, win all the way around, made it even more fun to do.
Hey guys, if you want to quit your job in the next 3 months, make sure you're subscribed to this podcast, because we've got some incredible frameworks with step-by-step instruction that you're not going to want to miss. Also, leave us a rating and review to let us know your favorite parts and why you want to get financial freedom.
David, this kind of goes back to this morning's, the first episode where the guy, Robert, was talking about the book, Are You Dumb Enough to Be Rich? I'm like, you guys literally made $48,000. And so far, all I've heard in terms of how you generated that and how you sold that was just connecting and talking to people. You didn't send postcards. You didn't do any of that. It was just word of mouth, and you made $48,000.
It's cool. Like, I know DealMachine is traditionally known for more the, add a lead, run the, send the postcards, that whole process, which we are doing as well. But for this specific lead, you're right. It wasn't any of that. It was word of mouth. It was being a connector. And then using the cool thing on the DealMachine front was digging into the data and using that to really assess each individual property, the comps for it, like the overall, realizing like, man, this is a really awesome opportunity for whoever's going to be the cash buyer on this thing. So yeah, it was fun.
That's wild.
So yeah, I think that the Facebook post is something anyone can do. And if you're not sure who's an experienced wholesaler that could help you sell that deal, I mean, you could Google Sell My House Fast St. Louis. Their business will pop up on the first page. You can contact those people once you have a deal under contract. just wanted to clarify something. So Matt and Vince are two buddies that formed an LLC as partners. David Dodge was not part of that LLC. So in that case, guys, we've got a JV agreement where you partner on like one deal specifically. And that's at DealMachine.com/JV. And the other thing that I was going to say was, I just lost my train of thought on it, but it was important. I knew that it was very important.
Yeah. It's, I'd say like going through the whole thing too. One thing we learned. Oh, go ahead.
Got it. Some people won't take the first step in even reaching out because they don't know this final step. So I wanted you to clarify, what actually, did you sign for it somewhere? Did somebody come to you to sign for it? Like, how did you actually finish the deal?
Yeah. So we did, it was a double close. So we went through and we worked with local side. So there's a to B contract and then a B to C contract. So going in and basically, that initial seller, you're coming in making an agreement with them. And then there's a cash buyer on the back end. You're making an agreement with them. We had a title company work with us on that project.
You had it under contract that the seller was selling the deal to MVP LLC, your LLC, Vince. Okay.
Yeah.
And then, so then you said you had a totally another contract that where MVP was going to sell it to who?
That's local cash buyer, just private, just David brought. David brought. Yes.
And then did David have an assignment fee for that transaction from MVP to?
There's essentially is it assignable? Yeah. So I would say, from a logistical standpoint too, one big thing that we learned through this process, which was awesome. Another reason to find a mentor is to see the full like logistics of the process happen, and then also the value of a great title company. Like he was somebody who it was a title company locally that David has worked with, Investor Title, that was I would say a great kind of mentor in the full transaction as well. So again, like the thing I would really stress to this whole thing is leading through action. Like we went through and throughout the entire process, we're learning a lot from other people that had these resources, that had access to these other individuals. And by going in and asking great questions, going in and saying like, yes, what is that next step, and really being open to learning, that we got, that's how this got done. So, yeah. And we started, I know we started getting active in January, and, it was mid-March by the time we closed it. So, it was couple month process, and but something that like again wouldn't have happened if we would have just sat back and forever said like, oh man, well, we should be doing this. Well,
yeah,
here you go.
Such a simple thing to put a post out there saying, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm doing, if you have any information, any leads, send it my way. And this perfectly proves how that one small little step can lead to a huge profit. And in some cases, this could be like if you were doing that by yourself, $48,000 solo on a deal, like that can be life altering for a lot of people and really position them in a spot where they can go and start doing more in real estate just off of one lead. So it's such a simple thing. I know that it was part of the 30-day wholesaling challenge when I started, was simply just tell people what you're doing. And at first I was like, I'm not doing that because then they're all going to do it too. But that was how our first deal came in, was I was telling a friend, hey, this is what I'm looking for, this is what I'm doing. He's like, oh, call this guy, he's got a house. And so it's such a simple thing. It's underrated for sure, but just tell people what you're up to. Like, just tell them, I'm looking for distressed properties, or I'm looking for lots, or here's what I'm looking for. And you'll be surprised at what leads that are essentially kind of free come in.
Yep, absolutely. Well, Matt, why don't you give us a final tip for somebody who's wanting to do their first deal and make 48 or a third of that, which is $16,000?
Yeah. I mean, I think, guys, the big thing again is getting out there and, finding people who can hold you accountable, teaming up with friends, even if it's somebody who's publicly, even if it's posting on social media, publicly saying, I'm going to do this month. I know that's something that works, no matter what you're trying to do. If you're trying to have a healthy habit, if you're trying to, lose weight, get in shape, like whatever it is, just publicly declaring that is going to put a little pressure on yourself to actually take action on this stuff. So I think going out there, being able to find somebody you can either tell it to or do it publicly, and then start to network and really find those mentors, find those people that you can team up with. And even if it's a JV deal that you're splitting with somebody, like I'd much rather have a third of that than 100% of nothing. Right. So it's, I'd say like lean on other people, learn as you go, and be open-minded. So,
Well, thank you so much, Matt. This was a great, fresh episode, and I'm so excited to see what your next deal will be.
Absolutely, guys.
Talk to you later, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thanks for listening to the DealMachine Real Estate Investing Podcast. Please leave us a review and follow along wherever you're listening to your podcast.